Hi, I'm Tayton and I'm a 24-year-old trans woman. Many times in my live streams, I get asked, when did you know you were transgender? That's a really hard question. I knew when I was around 7 that I was a girl, but I didn't have internet access or anyone around me that was transgender, so I didn't have that verbiage. And so many times I would just say, I'm a girl, or I like these things instead of that. And due to societal pressures and pressure coming from my family, I just suppressed that for a very, very long time. It wasn't until I was around 13 or 14 when I had more access to the outside world and internet access that helped me to discover who I was, to be able to research those things and find out who I really was. I didn't publicly transition until I was 18. That's when I felt more comfortable being who I was. I grew up in a very religious household, and so for a long time, that's why I held it back. And it didn't help that societal pressures weren't any better. But I just want to let you know, be you, be who you are, and if you know you are transgender, then you are transgender, and you do not have to prove your identity or your validness to anyone. You are you. As a trans person, I think my childhood was a lot different than a cis person's childhood. I would say I struggled to find myself in the aspect of finding who I was and what my gender is. I told many people growing up that I was a girl, but I was continuously told that no, you are a boy and that's all you'll ever be. I remember one of my birthdays, my grandmother bought me a pair of Princess Jelly shoes, and I was so excited and it was super affirming. But then moments later, my father took them and he threw them in the garbage and told me those are for girls, not for boys. I remember that causing me so much distress, and it was really hurtful. I think as a trans child, I spent more time anxious and in distress than a normal cis child would be. I found it hard to explore myself and my gender and who I was. Parents, please allow your children to explore themselves and their gender in healthy ways instead of forcing them to suppress their feelings. Thank you. A lot of people always ask me, when did I come out as transgender? I came out publicly and socially when I was 18 years old. I discovered my gender when I was around 13 to 14 years old, but due to societal pressures, I suppressed my feelings for a very long time. Coming out was extremely hard for me, especially because a family member outed me. Luckily, I was in a safe place and I had a good support system surrounding me. I always tell people, come out when you feel comfortable, when you feel safe, and when you have a good support system surrounding you so that you can feel more comfortable in your transition. People always want to know, was my family supportive when I came out? When I came out, it was in 2018 and I was living in Austin, Texas. I wasn't anywhere near my family. My father grew up in a military household, so it was very hard for him when I first came out because he just wasn't used to that. We didn't see eye to eye for a very long time, but it's gotten much better since I've come out. When I came out to my mom, she was very confused and didn't understand it, but after discussing my gender identity with her, she was much more understanding. Today, she works at an LGBT clinic and she's very understanding and she's very supportive to people in the LGBT community. Thank you. A lot of trans people have a hard time affirming their gender, and here are some basic ways you can affirm your gender. When I first came out, I had a really bad self-confidence issue. One thing I started doing every day was standing in the mirror, whether that was fully clothed or nude optional, and I would look at myself up and down and I would tell myself 3 things I like about myself, whether that's my hair, my eyes, the way my curves are starting to lie as I'm starting my transition. Anything that you can find that you like about yourself will really help your self-confidence. When I first came out, my biggest issue was comparing myself to other trans women and even other women. Don't do that. Be you. Explore your own gender. Choose how you want to explore your gender so that in the future you get to be 100% truly yourself. Another simple way to affirm yourself, whether that's gender or anything else, write down on post-it notes things you like about yourself and post them everywhere around your house so that you can read those reminders every day that this is why I love myself and these keep me going through my transition.